Hello, I am Anthony Castillo. I'm here with James Coughlin. Mr. James Coughlin, I'm sorry.
Hello.
Nice to meet you.
You too. Thank you for coming today.
Can you please explain your occupation that you have at Motorola Solutions, please?
I am a computer engineer. My direct title is a systems integrator, engineer, and cybersecurity engineer.
All right, thank you. And now I'm going to ask you a couple of questions here, if you do not mind.
Sure.
What drew you to pursuing your career that you're in right now?
When I was in high school, I always loved computers. I actually helped set up a computer lab. It's the first one our high school ever had. And ever since then, I've loved doing things with computers.
Okay, thank you. And what kind of education did you go through in order to achieve your career?
I kind of took a roundabout career because I joined the Marine Corps first.
See.
And in the Marine Corps, I learned a lot of Windows. And then we had a lot of different systems, and they were a mix of Windows and Unix. So then I had to learn both. From there, after I got out, because I knew so much about both, I got into testing them, and I went and got a bachelor's degree. My bachelor's degree is actually in an unrelated field completely, and then after that I decided to get back into it, so I just finished my master's degree in cybersecurity.
So you already answered what kind of degree you got.
Yes.
What is the most challenging problem that you have to overcome, like in everyday life, like in everyday in your job?
Every day I would say communication. Things are always changing. You can have one meeting and a half hour later everything you discussed could change because something had to change in the design, or maybe you had to re-engineer a network. So then everything you had decided in the meeting now has to be updated and redone. So communication is the biggest problem. It's really hard to overcome that challenge. Really, there's no way around it because things do evolve and change constantly. So you have to be prepared for that. You have to have really good communication skills, and you have to figure out how to use the tools and how your team best uses the tools to keep that information sharing all on the same track.
That's actually really cool. Okay, fifth question. Do you ever have problems with like your coworkers that's like on a common issue that's not communication?
I wouldn't say a common problem, but common issue is always wanting more training. We always need more training. There's always new software or new technologies that are coming out, and we're so busy working, we don't have time to stop and do the training courses because they're during normal business hours as well. You can't just go and find a Saturday course. So you either have to do it at night on your own, like I did my master's, or you have to do it during work hours, in which case you're not getting your normal day-to-day job done. So it makes for some long days sometimes when we do get training.
Okay, so what is like your everyday routine that like, starting from when you get to work to you leave?
My day usually actually starts before I even get to work because of the field we're in. I get phone calls and emails 24/7. So I'll check my phone in the morning and I'll get up, say hi to the family, whatever, get the kids ready for school, and then I check my emails and text messages because we have customers that are in Japan and other places where there's so many hours ahead that their work day has already begun and they're already halfway through it by the time I'm starting mine. Mm-hmm. So that happens first. Once I get to the office, it's usually check any more emails, address anything that's high priority, and then I have a task list that I usually try to have set for myself the day prior in order to get done that day. So I'll start working my way down that list. As I do that, there's normal business interruptions. Hey, I need this quick. Hey, we got a meeting, that you have to kind of interject in there when they come up, and then get right back to the task list as much as you can. So in doing that, emails, phone calls, they're always high priority, but then I've got to update systems, I've got to check monitors, I've got to check logs, and then work on that task list.
So is it like kind of stressful when you do that?
It can be, yeah.
I see. Okay. If you travel for your work, what kind of work do you do at a different site?
So I do a lot of the same stuff here that I do at a customer site, or if I go to a test lab for the government. We take our software, we configure it, then we take the system and we ship it there, connect it to their network, and then we set it up and test it. We test the network, we test the computers, we test the software, so it's varied. If it goes to a customer site that already has the software, then we may do the same things, or we may be testing new software, in which case we have to be very careful to test it in a way that's not going to break anything that's already running.
Like what's the most place you travel to? Like what site?
For the longest duration, I would say is probably Lackland, Texas. It's a government site where we do a long test. I just spent literally the entire of March there, the month of March. As far as quantity, probably the Virginia area. We have a lot of customers in that area.
See. You said if you, because you already said you answered your phone calls from home and other stuff. Number 8 is already answered. What is it like if you don't plan on continuing to do what you're doing right now? Well, what other engineering or future career would you like to do?
I don't think I would. I love computers and I love doing different things with them. I don't think I would change careers. I don't have anything else that I would really want to do as a career. I would stay in the computer field.
What is the last project that you have worked on?
The last project was getting our software certified for the government use. It takes not only normal testing, but it also takes a lot of configuration and configuration management where you're tracking every single change. So it's very tedious. You got to track literally everything that gets updated, and then you got to go through and there's over 5,000 different checks and tests to do to make sure it passes every one of those requirements.
I see. Thank you for answering all of the questions. Was there anything else you would like to add, just as a little side note?
As a side note, I would like to say that a lot of people can feel pressure. When you're graduating high school and you're trying to choose a college, or the military, or neither of the two. You don't have choices. Whatever you choose, you're not set on that path. For me, for example, I went into the Marine Corps at 17 years old. I learned a lot there, then I got a bachelor's degree in a completely unrelated field, and now I have my master's in cybersecurity. So the first and third relate. The bachelor's degree had nothing to do with the other, so don't feel stuck in one career. And early on in your career, don't be afraid to change jobs. Just because you're working for one company doesn't mean you owe them anything. You should treat them well if they treat you well. If not, you should get out and find a new job. If you feel that you're not being challenged, then you need to change jobs. It's good to challenge yourself and stay challenged because that's the only way you're going to grow and learn. A lot of people will get a job and stay in it, and they'll feel like, if I stay here, my time will come, and that can be true, but a lot of times it's not. So don't sit and wait, make it happen for yourself.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Okay, so this is one of our daily tasks. We have a lot of servers, switches, we have our connections. All the servers and everything are in the racks, and then behind where the camera is are all the tables where the operators sit or the testers. One of the things we want to verify and make sure the lights are actually working to show that the system is up and running. See here we have a server powered down. We want to ensure that's on purpose. And then you don't hear any alarms or loud fan noises or anything to indicate that there's an issue. This is one thing as an engineer that you need to be aware of. You need to know what to expect from your systems and what causes alarm. Okay, so in the computer lab, we have a lot of different things that we use, software being one of the key ones. This is one of our pieces of software called Security Center. And basically, we're connected to a computer here in the room, but this computer actually connects back to the servers that are in the other room where we just were. So using this software, if I log in quickly, we'll be able to see that I have different statuses of different software, and then I can go in and scan the software to make sure there's no vulnerabilities. And a vulnerability is anything that makes the system more vulnerable to attack or hacks. So if we have patches that need to be updated, if we have a switch or a router that's outdated, this will tell us. The security scans, we can then run reports. After the scan is done, here I have a scan starting, and it'll go through and tell me exactly what it's doing.
That's cool.
It'll take a second to pop up. And here you can see it's pending. So depending on the size of the scan, it may take 5 minutes to run, it may take a couple hours. It all depends on exactly what it's doing, and I can tell this to do everything from just give me the host name and IP of the system, or I can tell it to scan the entire thing and tell me everything it can about it. So as an engineer, specifically a computer engineer, you basically need to know everything you're working with. That way you have a baseline. That way when things change or are broken, you can go back to that baseline and do a root cause analysis and find out exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Good?
I understand.
All right.